Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Monday, March 24th, a little bit ahead of the market open. We talked last week, we were talking about GameStop. I know we got earnings coming in tomorrow in after hours, but we had posted a little bit of data. We had taken a look at some charts, we had taken a look at the unusual whale option flow. What we had talked about last week, we were looking at that 200-day simple moving average. I know a lot of you have been probably following this on GameStop and then saw the post as well. If you take a look here, we're pulling up this post from last week when we talked about the GameStop daily chart. Because we last discussed it earlier in March as we were seeing GameStop kind of flirt with that 200-day simple moving average, which we saw in a decline. Then we lost the 9 and the 21-day EMA. And then Friday, we had a nice little move, a nice close there, a nice move back up. And we can see here we had a SMA on Friday. We're up in the top left corner, 25.12. That was kind of the number, and we were kind of approaching that. And then after hours Friday, we did see that actually happen, and that was something we were talking about only because we hadn't seen anything drop below that 200-day moving average there. So it was kind of interesting to see, kind of interesting to as it moved up. We saw some option activity come through. I had posted last week. We talked about the. Let me find where it was at here. Yes, we did make some money on tests. I think a lot of people did as well. Let's see here. Yeah, we had the expected move. I just want to make sure I was talking about the right post here. There we go. So we saw this was I originally posted that, but just within about an hour of the open on Friday, we had saw some 23 and 2350 calls for this week being loaded on GameStop, with earnings being on Tuesday. Increased speculation revolving, the balance sheet, the cash, a lot of noise on social media around the name. So it's something we had noted because we had saw kind of that net premium take a ride on Friday, something we hadn't seen for about a week. And then we had saw some of these $23 calls. This was last week coming in for this week, as well as the 2350s, both which were in the money. Now, we had talked about Friday being OPEC, so I wanted to get a clear look at the open interest for today after we saw the Friday monthly option expiration. So we're going to come over here to Unusual Whales, and we're going to pull up the open interest here. And we're going to take a look at it here real quick for GameStop. Make sure we got the current date today set. So we want the most accurate information here. All right, let's take a look at it. So what we're going to take a look at here is we're going to look at the changes in open interest and where we're at. Let me make sure I'm on the right page here. Oh, there we go. Open interest Explorer. All right, we're on GameStop. Make sure we have the most accurate date here. Let that information load for a second. All right, let's take a look. I'm going to zoom this in for you here. You're welcome to pause or slow down the screen or whatever you would like to do. Take a screenshot. That's up to you. We'll try to zoom it in for you. So what we can see, I wanted to wait to see what activity happened Friday and then just to take a look at the open interest. What shifted? What came about Monday? Did anything jump out to us? So here are, you've seen me post before, your largest increases or decreases to to open interest. So those were the largest increases here, and we'll also sort those by the the change, the biggest. So the biggest decrease was the 24 calls for June. $20 puts for this week, $27 calls for April. So a little bit, not very big changes there in the decrease in open interest. Let's bring it back to the changes on the upside, though. What did increase? Oh, there we go. Getting a little jumpy there. I was making sure it changed for me. Okay, there we go. We have the $30 calls for this week. Those are out of the money. About 21% out of the money. $50 calls, again, could be a lot of buyers. It could be a lot of sellers and buyers there. So just a little bit of open interest. Let's take a look at some of those. Just take a quick gander here. I don't want to take too much of your time this morning. I know you're very busy. We'll pull up the one day here so we can take a look at what transpired. So we did see, let's see, about 10,000 volume on that on Friday. About 3,400 appeared in new open interest. Let's see. When comparing the bid and the ask, saw some selling, saw buying. And a lot of times these contracts can trade hands. For example, day traders get in here, you buy here, sell here, buy back, sell here, buy back. So sometimes, like I said, the contracts will trade hands. about 300,000 in premium there on Friday. If you look like here, the bid and the ask kind of split, so it doesn't really say, hey, this is directional, hey, this is not directional. Somebody either looking for a move up, but the volatility, though, the IV is at 122%. And I don't think you need me to remind you to know, on contracts that expire short dated with high implied volatility, it's real easy for the premium to poof, go bye bye, or go through the roof. So that can happen very quickly. It just all depends on the information. And like those $50 calls, I assume a lot of those were selling. Because I've been seeing a lot of these come through the tape. See 2,000 on bid, 2,400 on ask, about 2,500 new open interest. So here's a case where sellers sold to would-be buyers, and then buyers now may be holding them as open interest. Could have also been, like I said, sold to open, bought to open. You do see that often within the stock. So trading, especially around the option expiry, saw Friday as traders, reposition their positions. So, like I said, not a lot of premium there, 40,000. But let's take a look, though. As you can see, like I said, these were your largest changes to open interest, looking at that green column there. So if you see anything that jumps out, like we talked about the 23.5s last week, so it's kind of promising to see, a little bit of open interest increase. Again, like if we compare the bid and the ask, kind of split between the buyers and sellers. So combination of both. But let's take a look at that unusual whales net flow we saw on Friday. So we can take a look at kind of like where we saw the total option premium, how that was shaping up, what were some of the most hit contracts on Friday. We'll take a look at that here real quick. And then we'll pull up that daily chart so we can take a look at some of those levels ahead of the open. So as of this morning recording this, and this is all subject to change as the options market does shift a little, so I'll update it again tonight and tomorrow. The earnings is expected, like I said, tomorrow on Tuesday and after hours. Right now, the expected move is 9.61%, plus or minus $2.46. Last week, it was 9.99%. So that will shift a little bit. So the expected move based on the options market, 9.61%. So up or down about $2.50 at this present moment. So when we look Friday, we actually saw a net call premium 1 million, which haven't seen that quite in about a week. So net put premium declined, which is kind of nice to see. As we go back here over the last 7 days, even on let's see, by March 14th, about 775,000 net call premium. So have not really seen a 1 million plus a day. I think the last day that was close, back on March 5th, and that was shortly before we were moving down below that 200-day moving average. So a lot of people use like a 50-day moving average and a 200-day moving average on a longer time frame. Just kind of my shape to see if a trend is shifting, as a new trend beginning, as a new trend ending, and we'll take a look more at that when we look at the chart as well. Well, zoom this in here. Some of your highest volume contracts you saw there on Friday. Let's see the 25s, 2450s, 24s. So the 24s, 2450s closed in the money, and then 25s slightly out. 30s for this week, 25s for this week. Some of those puts for last week, 24.5, 2350. So you saw some of that activity as well. So these were your highest volume contracts last week. So not too big. Or pardon me, on Friday, not a whole lot, but some decent position changing, closing, etc. Then the highest open interest was still remaining on those 125s. Been a lot of sellers on the GameStop 125 calls for June, as well as January. Folks are taking their premium. I don't blame. So if you look, for example, at the 125 call, it's nearly 400% out of the money for June, but they're still filling. Let's see, a trader bought or sold at $45 Friday. So, I mean, if you don't think GameStop will go to 125 and you're not worried about your shares, honestly, it's free premium. It's 125, a 400% out of the money call, but still offering a premium of $45 per contract. So, not too bad. Obviously, everybody should always manage their own risk and, do what's best for your portfolio, whether it be a put selling strategy, a covered call strategy. Maybe you're not into the options at all. Maybe you're just long or short shares. It all depends. So, but we take a look here. The volatility is still about 75%. So it hasn't really ramped up. You could see that change today and tomorrow. It's still around there, 75%. So total premium Friday was about 14.5 million, and net premium, like I said, was pretty strong, 1.4 mil. So if we take a look, the last day we had that 1.4 net premium was on March 11th. plenty of negative days in terms of premium. So, and I think that was just as we get over to the chart here, more kind of a reflection on, from a technical standpoint. For example, like for long time frames, I'll look at things, and we talked about the 200-day moving average on GameStop. So let's zoom this chart out a little bit. We've been above that 200-day for quite a long time. It happened back last year in May, right around the time Roaring Kitty came back and posted. Boom, we shot up above the 200-day, and we kind of remained there. There were a few days we got close, like September. We came down, October, rallied again into December and the beginning of the year. And then we talked about, hey, I posted back on February, hey, be mindful of that 200-day. A lot of people were concerned with the stock around 27 and, started moving to 25 and 26. And I issued kind of a big red flag warning around the 24th, like, hey, the stock's kind of looking bearish from a technical standpoint. Obviously play it by ear, and well, that's exactly what happened. We saw the stock lose that 200-day. It took some shots right back at it, but we started losing that 9 and the 21 EMA. So that kind of crossed right around here. So if you use a combination of like a 9 and a 21 EMA, and then use like a generic 200 SMA or a 50, for example, you might have noted this big drop here on January 14th. And then if you just use like a 921 cross, price at GameStop was still $29, before it dropped down to 21. So it provided an opportunity. I know some people, were, looking to maybe profit or kind of, I saw the sentiment on social. Oh, why didn't I sell here? And it just depends what your investment objective is, whether you're here short term, long term. Obviously protect your gains at all costs, and nobody likes to see a drawdown on their stock. But after the stock being up so high, 34, if you didn't size some down or trim some away and you let it go down to 21, that's more like an emotional decision. And, it's just something to learn from, depending on, like I said, it all depends what your objective is. Some are just buy and hold. Some are trading. Some are looking to profit. Some are looking to cut losers quickly. For example, maybe they got into GameStop up here around 28 and were excited. Then the 200-day was lost, and then they kind of got, down and out at 21 as they took, about a 30-40% drawdown. So that does happen. But we did see some nice move back up to the 9 EMA. Let's see, March 17th. So, and then Friday with a little bit larger volume and a little bit higher breakout. So, like I said, once we, let me turn on the after hours data, because that, like we said, wanted to check that Friday. Let's see, the high 2575. So that's using the after hour data, which put it right above that 200-day simple moving average. So it's kind of interesting, kind of a bullish statement per se. You would obviously want to watch for the follow through with earnings tomorrow, because all eyes are going to be on what has GameStop done with the cash since the previous earnings report, and has anything changed with the company? We talked last week how they revamped their investor relation website. They made it look a lot like Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway website, very generic. So whether that's, just Ryan Cohen paying homage to the Oracle of Omaha, it's really hard to say, because, Ryan Cohen he's very quiet when it comes to GameStop and their plans. He doesn't, actively engage on the social. They don't provide outlook in that regard. They don't share their plans. They just kind of boom, pop up. So, maybe we'll hear more about, any offers for some of those foreign markets. Have they looked to sell anything? So I'll be drilling through the balance sheet tomorrow, and I'll post my report on that as we look into it to see what the money. And then, as for all the speculation online, whether it be, other players involved or Bitcoin, and a lot of that speculation, and that's fun and that's great for volatility, but it leaves the window open to be hurt as well if you're, not careful. For example, say you're banking on something to happen and it didn't, the market's going to recognize that event didn't happen, and therefore the volatility will come down. So, for example, when the implied volatility is high in your option premium, you be very, very cautious there. So like I said, let's take a look here. Friday, that SMA, we're up here in the top left corner, was 25.12. So we're just close there with that close of 24.76. So it's kind of a move. I'm not sure, where we go today. Nobody knows until the market opens. We start seeing the options get traded. Sentiment's building. There's a lot of, Friday from a technical standpoint was a good solid move on the chart. Now I want to see some follow through, want to see some volume, want to see that continued option flow, and I'll post about it throughout today and tomorrow as we take a look at it to see, in fact, what GameStop's been up to. I know if you take a look online, what the analysts are saying about GameStop. A lot are expecting a decline year over year in quarter four uh, across different categories. So we shall see. I did post the GameStop hit 1 million on their PSA offering. Remember we talked about they partnered with PSA. I know there was both positive and negative feelings on the subject, but they had crossed kind of a milestone the other day as they approach their 1 millionth card being submitted through GameStop. So for about 1 million cards, they've been doing it since October 15th when they announced the collaboration. So averaging around 200,000 cards a month being graded. That's not bad. I mean, that's more increased foot traffic to the store in regards to collectibles. So I'll be taking a look at like the collectibles and the breakdown of sales this year. We'll see how Q4 compared. We'll see how the analysts expectation. We'll see how that kind of shaped up though. But I thought that was interesting. Here we are, 5 months into that, and that is a different revenue stream for GameStop. It's a collaboration. It's increased foot traffic. Not sure what it's doing on the bottom line, as I don't have access to that information yet. But it definitely has gained ground, with 1 million. And I do remember something back. One of those big things, Roaring Kitty. I'd always talked about with GameStop back prior to the pandemic was just GameStop introducing more streams of revenue, and increased traffic, other forms of business, and this certainly is proving to be another form of business that's in the last 5 months has kind of taken off for them with that 1 million PSA graded card submissions. So they sell a lot of cards in the store. Encourage you to get them graded there. Pretty good price on it as well. So yeah, we'll take a look at this stuff as it moves in. But from a technical standpoint, when you look at a chart, volume slowed down, price moved down, and market kind of corrected also this year. We were running really high. Look at Tesla. Look at the S&P. Just look at the market overall. There's going to be a correction. We did see the RSI, which is a lagging indicator, only comes after the data, so it doesn't tell you anything in the future. But you do see that RSI kind of reset there mid-March, bottom out. Maybe found some new buyers and a new wave. But from a technical standpoint, I saw a lot of charts and a lot of folks posting about GameStop. When a stock moves, drops below a 200-day moving average, a longer timeline, bearish as it gets back to it, could be a bullish short-term or even long-term sentiment. So you never really know until, the price. You try to follow the price. You try to follow the volume. You follow the price action, and then you follow the option flow. You make your best determination and your best hypothesis from that. So yeah, this morning, like I said, we're getting ready to open up here on the market, so I don't want to take too much of your time. But yeah, so we'll talk about the earnings tomorrow. I'll post any flow that I do see. And if you followed this video or watched it all the way through, please share it with others. I do appreciate that. As always, thank you for that. And like I said, if you did watch it all the way through, just reply to this post. PSA 1 million. Then I know you watched the video all the way through. Just a little something that I used to do back in my old YouTube days. But yeah, I hope everyone has a great day. Happy Monday to you. And we'll see you around the internet. Have a great day, everyone.